Hi guys, today I'm making the ultimate power bowl for your thyroid, energy, and gut support. And it's a grab and go lunch you can prep on one day, let's say Sunday, and eat for the next few days at work. And you'll feel amazing after. It's creamy, it's crunchy, but it's also gluten-free, dairy-free, it can be vegetarian, and it's packed with the science-backed nutrients for your gut, thyroid, and energy. So if your energy's been dragging, your gut's been grumbling, or your thyroid's waving a red flag, this bowl is your new go-to for the work week. I'm Leilani, I'm a chef, I'm a clinical nutritionist, and I love simplifying the science so it's practical for real life. Gut health is my jam because your gut is connected to everything, including your thyroid. So if your thyroid is, say, the manager, your gut is the factory. And if the factory's broken, the manager's got nothing to work with. And so this is an analogy of how they tie together. Now, if you're just flat out busy and you want a one-stop shop for all things gut health, check out my gut health course. It comes with a 4 weeks menu, shopping list, cooking classes, and step-by-step lessons to help you get your gut and basically your life back on track. So the link's in the description. All right, first let's break down what's inside this bowl, why your gut and your hormones will do a happy dance after. And we're talking about the top science-backed ingredients here, and a ton of protein as well, which supports thyroid function and also energy. I'll also show you how to prepare nuts, legumes, and quinoa to reduce the gut irritants and unlock the powerful nutrients inside, so they become mineral-rich superfoods packed with absorbable zinc, iron, magnesium, and all these other micronutrients. Now head over to my Gut Love Club email. It's totally free, and every week I send you gut-friendly freebies and tips, all those things for nutrition in practical ways that are just doable daily. And stick around to the end because I'll show you how to make a dressing so good I think your friends would give up their Netflix password for it. Because let's be honest, the dressing really makes any kind of salad as a whole. And I don't like to say this is a salad, it is more of a power bowl, but it basically will turn a bunch of ingredients into a crave-worthy, Moorish bowl that you'll actually want to eat on repeat. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you the top 2 ingredients that are an absolute must. Three absolute must for, particularly for thyroid. And we're going to start with my friend, lentils. All right, so why lentils are like a plant-based Iron Man. They have iron, zinc that fuel your thyroid enzymes, but also they have prebiotic fibers in there that help your gut. Now this is from a can. They're already cooked. I wash them super well, get rid of that disgusting liquid, and I'm going to put them in my bowl as a base. It's always better to cook your own, but if you're a busy person, this is the next best thing. So I've already got in my bowl, and this is a second base. This is quinoa, and quinoa has a ton of B vitamins that actually converts food into ATP, which is energy. It's also a complete protein with all nine essential amino acids. And this one is a red quinoa, if you saw this, so it's a little bit different from the white quinoa. And the reason that's so good is because it actually has more antioxidants in it. So that's like the fire extinguisher for inflammation. So if you have that option, definitely go with the red quinoa or the multicolored one. Now, I cook this just with water, some salt, and a spoon of bone broth. But you can also just do it in water. Just gives it more flavor, more nutrients. So I've got my red quinoa, I've got my lentils. I'm gonna pour that in. And this is the base. So they're both protein, and then, believe it or not, these 2 ingredients also are protein, and they're good for the thyroid. So let's talk about Brazil nuts first. This is like a selenium sugar daddy. It has 1 per day, basically, is all you need to support your thyroid's selenium nutrient content, and that's an absolute essential. Without that, your thyroid hormones will not work as well, and it's very, very difficult to get. So ideally with nuts, you want to soak them, and the reason, it's the same with legumes and it's the same with quinoa. This is the ultimate, particularly if your gut is compromised. So what it does is it helps unlock the nutrients, but also reduce the anti-nutrients that lock those up, but also the components in it that create a bit of war inside your body. So what I did with the quinoa is I soaked it. You don't have to do this with quinoa, but it certainly, if your gut is compromised, you want to soak it. And with quinoa, you want to soak it with lemon or apple cider vinegar. So you fill it to the bowl with filtered water. You put about a spoon of apple cider vinegar or lemon inside. And it's the same with the lentils. So you want to soak that. The other thing you can do is cook it in a bone broth, which helps with the mineral concentration in it. But it will make it more digestible, much easier on your gut if you do that. Now with the Brazil nuts, you want to soak them. This is a bit different. They've got high phytase, so you need to add a teaspoon of sea salt. So you fill it up in a bigger bowl than this, and you'll add a teaspoon of sea salt. It can't have iodine, so you don't want the iodized sea salt in this. And you're just going to leave these out for a night. It could even be a little bit less, like 4 to 8 hours for the nuts, but generally I just leave it overnight, drain it, and then I put it in a low oven or a dehydrator to get it crunchy again. You can buy them activated, and I must say activated is worth the money if you can't be bothered doing this. And how you sort of know from a taste test point of view, have you ever eaten a nut and thought it sort of tastes like paper or cardboard? That's when you know it has it's not really ready to eat. So when you activate them or soak them and use them after they're soaking, you'll actually really enjoy the taste and the flavor and the texture. I have a whole guide on soaking and which ingredient to use for legumes or for nuts, because it's all a bit different depending on their phytase content, and that's what locks up the nutrients. It's all in my gut health course, so go and check out the link. But essentially all you need is a few of these, so maybe even 2. I've cut them up because they're so big. I just cut them up already. So we got that. The next thing is the pumpkin seeds. Now I know this seems boring, but again, if you activate them, totally different thing. This is like a zinc bomb, and you need zinc for thyroid hormone production. So super, super important. I soaked them, I activated them in the oven again, just kept them to a point where they're crunchy, and then they're good to go. If you don't have time to do that and you don't buy activated, the next best thing is roasted. So that helps with the gut irritants as well. So I'm gonna just add about a handful. Now, because this is a vegetarian option, and by all means you can add more ingredients, these are just the most nutrient dense ingredients for the energy, for the thyroid, and for the gut. And all these ingredients have a lot of B vitamins in them, so I specifically chose this, and that is for the Krebs cycle, for the energy production. So what else we got? Now, sprouts. Can you see here? Sprouts, so this is actually arugula, but I'll get to that. Sprouts they have their own enzymes that help break down the meal. So you can just get them. I'm in Turkey at the moment. It's very hard to get the sprouts that I would get in Australia, but I normally get the alfalfa or the broccoli, take out a pinch and just put them in. They are a nutrient powerhouse. You don't have to use it, but I gotta say, that little tiny seed has all the nutrients to create a huge plant. And when they're sprouted, they unlock a lot of those nutrients, so it's a nutrient bomb. And we live in such a nutrient depleted world with high toxins. It is essential that you're eating to help your body function at its best. Now, the other thing I've got here, just as a show, you don't have to add this, is bitter greens. This is arugula or rocket. I'm just going to chop it up. You don't have to add this, but it helps with the digestion. And I had that in the fridge. So you could use either or for this recipe. I do definitely recommend sprouts. Now, spring onions or any onion, this is a gut healthy food. The spring onion has quercetin and inulin. It's like a gut fertilizer and a bad bug.
2,000 years later.
Bad bug blocker, okay, because this helps the ratio of good to bad. So I always try to add onions to all of my meals. And so this is just cut up and I'm going to put that in there. So what you can do with this recipe is on Sunday On Sunday, you're going to chop up your spring onions in a bulk, leave them in a Tupperware with a paper towel. That'll keep them nice and fresh. And then you can actually drain your lentils and cook your quinoa, because it's a cold salad or bowl, and mix that together so it's just ready to go for the week. Sprouts will be in a jar, or not a jar, like a plastic container. You just take a handful and on the day add it to it. Nuts are always ready. And I'm going to add some herbs. You don't have to add the herbs, but there's a couple of things. With herbs, they help reduce bloating. So they're going to add polyphenols for your gut. They're going to add flavor, particularly dill and vitamin C for the parsley. But they also help with bloating and gas. So I add a lot of herbs to my food. So I'll put, that's like a good couple of tablespoons in there. Now what's going to make this recipe is the dressing, and that's coming up soon. And again, you'll make the dressing in bulk. It'll last for the week, and it'll just be something you can add in the morning to your jar with all this stuff, and or side, it's up to you, but it will keep for the day dressed. I wouldn't do it dressed on the Sunday for the whole week. I would just pour every morning the dressing and then add the nuts. So now I've got avocado. You don't have to use avocado. The reason I use avocado is because it's like a moisturizer for the gut. This one's not in great shape, but it's got full of monounsaturated fats, and it's also got a lot of fiber. Now I'm trying to keep this dairy free, but if you don't like avocado or it's not avocado season, by all means, you can actually use feta is really nice to crumble in this and put it through it. But because the dressing has good fats in it, it's not really essential. The only thing about avocado is you do have to chop that in the morning because it'll go brown. So it's kind of optional. Now, so is this. This one's optional. It's red capsicum. The only reason I've got it in there is because I think it needs a bit of color to show you. And capsicum actually has a lot of vitamin C. And so when you're using non-animal proteins like the lentils, the quinoa, the nuts, you need vitamin C to help the iron absorption because it's not as easily or readily available. So that's why I'm adding it, but it is very optional. And a lot of people actually do have issues with the skin with capsicum. So I'm not necessarily recommending this as an ingredient, but I'm adding it, and you can add things that you like as well. Now, moving on to an ingredient that is also optional, but I like to add something sweet to my bowls or salads because it makes it more delicious, and otherwise it's a little bit one-dimensional. So you could add currants. In this case, I've got cranberries because I'm in Turkey. They didn't have currants where I went. And so see, that is beautiful. They're plump. You can soak them in water. They make them for 5 minutes and drain it, or 20 minutes. It doesn't really matter. And they become more digestible. But red foods like currants or cranberries feed a species called Akkermansia. Akkermansia helps with a bit of weight loss. So obviously that's a good thing for most people. They want that, but you only need it in small amounts. So that's like a spoon's worth. Now, there is another ingredient in this, and I don't have it here, but I'm substituting it, and it's really important for the thyroid. The nutrient is iodine, and iodine is essential for the conversion of for the production rather of T3 and T4. So you have to have it. We used to have iodized salt everywhere, and since we don't have iodized salt, there's a lot more thyroid issues. So I'm going to use like an iodized salt today, but if you can get dulce flakes, it's spelled D-U-L-S-E flakes. They're a Japanese flake, they're a red seaweed. They're really lovely, and you can buy them from the Asian grocery store, sometimes supermarkets, but generally, or health food stores. And you just need to sprinkle it on kind of like salt. So highly recommend that if you can get it. Now, the last ingredient I'm going to add here is another protein. You could add chicken, turkey is fantastic with this. You could add a type of wild fish, which is really good. I'm going to add eggs. All right, I love eggs, and eggs in this are really good because they're a hormone builder. They have selenium and B12 and tyrosine, and that's all really good for the thyroid. Now, so you can see it's nice and jammy. This is what you call the 7-minute egg. So you get a pot of boiling water, slowly put your refrigerated eggs in with a spoon, set your timer for 7 minutes, and at 7 minutes, you drain it out. And that's how you get this really jammy egg. If you want it a bit more set, leave it for another 30 seconds to a minute. I love jammy eggs, so I'm going to put that on top. You could also, on the Sunday, boil a whole bunch of eggs and peel them and have them just ready, like chop them up and have them tossed through it. I'm just making this a little bit more fancy for the presentation for you. But if that was for me, I would just boil a ton of them, cut them up and throw them in and mix it up. So I'm going to move on to the dressing now so we can toss it through. This is what it looks like so far. I haven't mixed it yet, but you can see it's got a lot of flavors coming from it. It's got good fats, it's got sweetness in it, it's got gut building ingredients, thyroid and energy building ingredients, crunchy ingredients. That's the other thing I like about capsicum. It's got a bit of crunch to it. All right, now I've got all the ingredients for what I think is probably the best dressing you'll ever make. I'm gonna make a small portion today, but I recommend you make this in a large portion. I have it in my cooking classes on my gut health course because I use it at least once a week. And I'd love to know in the comments, what's your favorite dressing? Let me know so we can share some more food ideas. And I'm gonna talk about, with every meal, one of the most important aspects is to pair it with a fermented food. So in this is turkey's kombucha, and it's called shalgam. It's actually like a fermented carrot juice with turnip. Doesn't sound good, but it actually is really nice. And they drink it with their alcohol raka to help with the hangover. I've got a whole course talk on the best fermented drinks, ancient drinks that help with the digestion of food, with reducing bloating, and just that sluggishness after you eat. So I'll put the card here, go and check that talk out. Or if it's not out, ring the bell, subscribe to my channel, because every week I bring you cooking classes, tips from around the world, all to do with gut health. And obviously it's connected to everything, so I touch on different things, but I like to make it practical for the everyday person. So today I'm going to be having a shot of this. You could do kombucha, you could have sauerkraut, and I'm going to be pairing that with my meal because that's also going to help with the digestion, the enzymes that help break it down, so it takes the load off the gut. All right, so let's get into the dressing. You'll get a jar, ideally. I've got a cup, but you want to put equal parts, more or less. I've got a spoon of tahini. This is what it looks like. Tahini is fantastic. It's got B vitamins in it that helps mitochondria function, and lignans, which feeds up bifidobacteria. So I'm going to put a spoon of that in. Oh, It's creamy. Once you start eating tahini, you'll use it a lot more, but it seems like a bit of a foreign food until you start using it. The thing about tahini, it really likes a touch of lemon or acid and also some sugar to help, depending on where you get your tahini. In Turkey, tahini is very, it's on the sweeter side already. In Australia and America, I think tahini, unless you go to a Middle Eastern store and get a really good tahini, it can be slightly bitter. So I will be adding a bit of honey today, but essentially you've got that. It was a big spoon, and then I'm going to be adding lemon. I'll show you here. Actually, the best way to do lemon is to hold your hand over it so you pick up the seeds. So equal parts, more or less, tahini to lemon, which is about half, because that's about a spoon. I'm going to mix that around. Starts to get thick. See, now you can see it's so thick. So what I do is I actually add some water. So I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of tahini to 1 tablespoon of lemon and 1 to 2 tablespoons of water. But it actually depends on your preference. I'm going to swap over to a fork. You can do this in a blender, by the way. I'm just showing you here. It's a bit easier in a blender. Now, this is where I'm going to could add cumin if you wanted to. I've got dill in the salad, so I'm not going to add any more sort of different flavors. But garlic and cumin go really well in this. Now, here's my salt. So remember, iodized salt. Now I'm going to add a little bit of honey. So this is about a teaspoon. It's not much. You're going to have to taste it as you go along. I've made this dressing so many times, and I've had to try to look up the recipe because I just do it by taste. You could also add sugar if you wanted to, but honey's got more minerals in it. So I've got 1 spoon of tahini, 1 spoon of lemon, and I'm also going to add a spoon of extra virgin olive oil. It's optional, but it is good for you. It's got a lot of polyphenols. There's a reason the Mediterranean people put it in everything. This has got lots of really good fats for you. Now, I made a very small amount because I just want enough for this salad. But if I was you, I would make this in maybe about a jar, a bit bigger than this, and fill it up. You can also, if you don't want to use lemon, you can use vinegar. So you could use white wine vinegar, or you could use white balsamic vinegar, then you wouldn't have to add the honey. Or apple cider vinegar can work, but it's a bit more tart, so maybe put a little bit less. Even lime. So you can see it's so nice and creamy. So now I'm going to pour this in. And I'm going to mix it. So this is what I would do in the morning. Just pour a bit in. I like a lot of dressing. I got to run away over there. So this dressing's really crunchy. It's very filling. I do recommend that when you cook the quinoa, you're going to put some flavor into that. So whether that's salt or stock or bone broth. Ideally, bone broth is where it's at. I'm going to clean it up for you. Normally I would just put this into a jar and shake it, or mix it and then shake it. So now I'll add my eggs. Well, they're very sensitive when they're this jammy. Look at that. And I've just got a little bit more capsicum to add a bit of red. And you could put some more dulce flakes on top of that, but there you go. We've got a power bowl for your gut, your thyroid, and for energy. And you can mix it up with different ingredients. You could have this every day for your work week. It will keep about 4 to 5 days, all those ingredients. Try it at home. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you might add to it, what protein you add to it. And if there's another dish that you would like me to cook, turn into a gut healthy version, let me know in the comments and I will do the research, come back to you. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Love your guts.